Week 9 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few defense DST units. I have his sleepers this week. The first DST, the Tennessee Titans. So this week, a good matchup on paper versus the Patriots. Give up the 8th most fantasy points to the DSTs on the season. I know the Titans, the last 2 weeks, they've been destroyed and blown out. Week 7 at Buffalo, 34 points, a sack. And then week 8 at Detroit, 52 points allowed and 4 sacks. So this week, like I said, Drake May, we'll see if he plays in this ball game for this New England Patriot team. So far, he's been limited in practice coming off the concussion, or it's going to be Jacoby Brissett. But either way, I think Tennessee could get pressure on one of those quarterbacks in this ball game. We know they don't have much at the wide receiver position as a deep threat. And Tennessee, they've been playing better at home this season in terms of giving up points and getting to the quarterback than they have on the road. So this week, while they're available in tons of fantasy leagues right now, is this Titan DST in 77% of fantasy leagues. They're definitely a sleeper this week. The next DST, the Arizona Cardinals. I know they're not a good unit, is this Arizona Cardinal team. But if you're in desperation for a defense, I think Arizona possibly could be a sleeper option this week. Available right now, 98% of fantasy leagues. So the last 2 weeks, week 7 versus the Chargers, 15 points allowed, 3 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. And last week in Miami, it was a tough game, no doubt about it. But they hung in there and made plays when they needed to. 27 points allowed, a sack and a safety. So this week, rookie quarterback Caleb Williams coming to town. And we know rookies, for the most part, they're going to make their mistakes. They're going to take sacks, hold on to the football too long. And that's been the issue with Caleb Williams at times this season for the first overall pick of draft. So I think this week, Arizona, they could scheme it up a little bit where they could get to Caleb Williams at times. Don't get me wrong. I think the Bears are still going to put points on the board. But like I said, this is a deep league desperation sleeper. And the third and final defense DST I have as a sleeper is the New York Giants. The Giants amongst the league leaders in sacks this season. And this week, it's not a great matchup at the Commanders, where they're one of the more high-powered offenses in the league, led by rookie Jaden Daniels. New York Giants, they've had some big weeks this year. And the last couple weeks, I know the numbers haven't been much. Week 6 versus Cincinnati, 17 points allowed, 4 sacks, a fumble recovery. Week 7 versus Philly, 28 points allowed versus the Eagles, 5 sacks. And week 8 at the Steelers, 26 points allowed, 4 sacks, and a fumble recoveries. This Giant team, they're going to give up mid-20s, low 30s. They get scoring to these teams most likely. But like I said, they get to the quarterback, they get some sacks, and they're good to cause a turnover or 2 per game. But like I said, Washington, one of the best offenses in the league. And Jaden Daniels now is just not making mistakes. So if you need a deep league sleeper, Giants DSTs out there, 95% of fantasy leagues. That's a few defense DST units I have as sleepers for week 9 of the fantasy football season.